Welcome back, everybody. I hope you've had a nice cup of coffee and are all feeling wide awake, ready for action. The next presenter today is Professor Vikram Uttam Pandit. His research areas are synthesis of nanomaterials and nanocomposites for photocatalytic water splitting, hydrogen sulfide splitting, and complex organic dye degradation. He did his PhD in the Center of Materials for Electronics Technology in Pune in India in 2016 under the guidance of Dr. Bharat Kail. And he is now an assistant professor in the Haribhai V. Desai College in Pune in India. So a very big welcome to you. Thank you very much for participating. If you'd like to share your screen.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. My name is Dr. Vikram Uttam Pandit. I am assistant professor and PG coordinator at HV Desai College, Pune, India. I am here to present 2D photocatalyst, that is 613 pentasynchinone for future. So the outline of my presentation is introduction, then the pentasynchinone, its characterization, and the photocatalytic application for H2S gas splitting, as well as organic complex dyes degradation, then the composite formation of organic and inorganic compounds and its results. So all we know that these non-renewable energy sources, which we call them as a coal, oil, or natural gas, those are going to be in extinct, right? So also when we burn them, they produces greenhouse gases. So these are creating a pollution. So this carbon dioxide, for example, if it generates, it will rise the Earth's temperature and it will start to melt the ice cap. So there is a very big problem. How one can solve this kind of a problem associated with non-renewable energy sources. Also, on the another side, here, this all natural gas, petroleum, and coal containing non-renewable energy sources countries are so limited. Only few countries are there, and if such a thing is happening, if we depend on lot of on the non-renewable energy sources, there might be a chance that again a world war may happen. So this is again a big, very big problem is there is ahead of all the scientific communities. So we all know that this renewable energy sources can be a good solution for all these type of non-renewable energy sources, and those include solar energy, wind energy, biomass, then the energy, hydro energy, geothermal energy, etc. So one of the solar energy here is clean, everlasting, which is also free, eco-friendly, and which will not cause us any type of pollution when we use it. So solar energy is one of the free and clean energy source, which is having a lot of application. And here in today's presentation, I am going to explain the photocatalysis, which will be depending on this type of a light. So photocatalysis, as the word itself indicates, that it is a photo means light, and catalysis reaction takes place in presence of light. That is nothing but the photocatalysis. And for this purpose, I have introduced, or I want to include these semiconductors materials for this particular photocatalysis. Photocatalysis itself has tremendous application like air cleaning, then removal of various organic or compounds from the atmosphere, as well as cleaning of these automobiles, building materials, agricultural. Then there are different medical equipments are also very, very useful in the field of this photocatalysis. In my presentation, again, I want to explain how this hydrogen clean energy can be generated from H2S gas and methylene blue dye degradation. No doubt there is a water splitting is also one of the example, but for today's presentation, I have included these two. So first of all, this H2S splitting. So this H2S is a means it is a non-useful or side product generally we get from the various industries, and it is a dangerous to the human health with a very bad smell. On the other hand, if we could generate hydrogen out of this H2S, it will be a solution to all the renewable energy source. So yes, this is the solution for these non-renewable energy sources. Why? Because already people, they are using a number of vehicles, number of instruments, they are produced with the help of this kind of a hydrogen gas. So for this purpose, during my research work, we have this kind of a setup which is developed in the lab, as well as on the roof of our building, we have such a kind of setup. Let me introduce this setup to you. If you clearly see here, there is a reactor is there, photoreactor, and light source is there. So here reaction conditions like 0.1 gram of powdered semiconductor catalyst is required. Then 0.5 molar to 5 molar KOH is required, lamp is there, and the bubble rate. What is the bubble rate that I will going to explain you right. So this is the first setup that we will go into detail. See here. Here there is a SCl which is dripping into this reactor. Here there is a iron sulfide. So with the help of iron sulfide and SCl, H2S gas is produced over here. Then this gas is passed through this particular cylinder into this photoreactor. So this photoreactor is with this aluminum foil. Why? Because the light which will be coming out, it will affect on the person who is working. So that's why we have just closed this with the help of aluminum foil. The light, it will does the rest of the work. We have to spin this continuously under the motion. Here photocatalysis works and we get a hydrogen gas. The hydrogen gas which is produced over here, it will come through this pipe and it will goes into this particular cylinder, which is graduated one. So it is containing a water. As the gas passes through this particular tube inside, the water will come down and we can easily measure the ml of hydrogen over here. Now, this is not just the conclusion. We can take a syringe. Out of the syringe, gas can be removed from this outlet, and we will inject this in the gas chromatograph. So that will tells us whether the hydrogen is produced or not. There is another photocatalytic setup we have developed, and that is on the rooftop of our building. See here, the sun is there, and similar type of H2S gas is produced over here with the help of this iron sulfide. Whatever the gas is produced, it will goes, and you can see the bubbles of the gas here. And here the setup of the photocatalytic reactor is there. So which will gives us the gas, and that will again gas chromatogram leads to this. One more application that I want to present over here is this organic dye degradation. So all these organic dyes are nothing but a complex organic structures, and the people, they are, see here, the people, they are giving a color like a jeans pant which we are wearing. They are just using it, and whatever the spent out is remain, they'll just throw it into the river. When it goes into the river, the organic compounds, when they eat the fishes or the aquatic life, get disturbed. So what could be the solution? Yes, there are number of solutions, number of reactor systems are available, but this particular photocatalytic setup is one of the very interesting and very useful technique is there. So we have a setup again in our lab. Here, this is the lamp, and the solution which is there, which we are throwing into the river that we collected, and it will falls on this particular solution. Because of the photocatalysis, it get degraded. So this is again just we can see through our eyes, but if you put this solution into the UV visible spectrophotometer, we can see these type of spectrums that will fall into the intensity, and here the absorbance value is decreasing. That will be like again it will convert into water. That is again can be converted. These are the complex dye structure, and after 1 hour or 2 hours we rest with the CO2, H2O, this type of gases which are less harmful than or as compared to this organic complex dyes. So these are the applications that I want to explain. Now this is the type of setup we have purchased in our lab, and we have very good setup now in HV Desai College itself. Only this much reactor is required. For this purpose, the semiconductor photocatalyst, we have choose the 613 pentasynquinone. So this 613 pentasynquinone on reduction can give the pentasyn, and we all know that pentasyn can be utilized for this type of flexible solar cell, flexible devices. In the solar cell, pentasyn is having a tremendous application. Even if you just make a derivatization of all these compounds to the pentasyn, it will leads to the very good application. But on the other hand, it has certain disadvantages, like it is a light sensitive as well as it is air sensitive. So where I am working in my college, we don't have such a facility to protect that kind of catalyst from light as well as from air. So for that purpose, we are not go for the pentasyn, but we rested with the pentasynquinone. And here it has a certain advantages that it is a very stable, it is insoluble in water, its melting point is also very good. So we have this kind of literature survey that this pentasynquinone can be derived from this aldehyde and ketone at like a reflux condition. Then there is one more method which using a 250 degrees Celsius and very high pressure. But recently we have synthesized this pentasynquinone by using the solid state method, pestle and mortar paste, and we have published this in American Chemical Society Journal. Recently, we have also used the bomb reactor or hydrothermal process for production of this kind of a pentasynquinone catalyst. After synthesis, we perform its characterization. For structural characterization, we have used H1 NMR and X-ray diffraction spectroscopy. So both the spectrum matches with their earlier reports that confirms the formation of pentasynquinone, and based on its field emission scanning electron microscope images, we can found that this pentasynquinone is like a two-dimensional sheet-like structures. UV visible spectroscopy is also utilized for the pi to pi and n to pi transitions present in the given compound. After this, we subjected that powder of pentasynquinone here in this photocatalyst for the H2S gas generation. But we found that we have generated 4,848 micromoles per hour per 0.1 gram of the catalyst. We have used this catalyst like 5 times, and it will show the similar type of activity. After this, we also use for the dye degradation, and without catalyst the rate is very low, like 6 to 7 times we got the higher rate than this particular. Now again, we know that this corona or COVID type of a situation is there in the world, which might be the scientists, they are very much like they are having a various sources that this COVID might be come into the human being. So water is one of the way that it can come into the human. So they are like confusing for this purpose. So this all type of situation can be handled by using this type of a catalytic or photocatalytic type of a experiment. After this, we have made a pentasynquinone and titanium oxide composite. Based on that, if you see here, these are the pentasynchrone sheets, and on that there are a tiny particles of TiO2 are there. And this is the TEM image, which will show you again the very good adhere of TiO2 particles on the TiO2 or pentasynchrone sheet. So this is very excellent. We have published these results also. Recently, what we did, we coupled this pentasynchrone with the TiO2, and after that, what we have found that this in situ process, very small, like 5 to 7 nanometers of TiO2 particles are formed, and they are just stuck on the rod or this plate-like structure of pentasynchrone. Here, as we added a pentasynchrone in the TiO2, the rate of hydrogen production, evolution of hydrogen is increasing as we have added the pentasynchrone in the TiO2. So this will suggest that this is a TiO2 and this is a pentasynchrone. It is given in earlier stage also here. See, band gap of TiO2 and pentasynchrone. So why this rate is increasing? Because this TiO2, it will give the whatever the holes and electron, it will do the reduction of this H plus ion which are produced during the H2S or inside the H2S. So the hydrogen gas which is there, is its rate is highly increased because of this kind of addition or composite formation. So these are our result. We have made it composite. We got excellent good result for dye degradation. After that, we added it into the TiO2 for the H2S splitting. That is also showing a very good results. Based on our result, a group of Chinese scientists, they have added this pentasynchrone. After our work, obviously, they have added a molybdenum disulfide over pentasynchrone, and they did its water splitting, and they also found a very good results based on this pentasynchrone when they added into the MOS. So basically, if we add all these different semiconducting nanomaterials over pentasynchrone by different methods, a number of applications can be possible. So it's like if material chemist, nanochemist, energy chemist, electronics chemist, chemistry, physics, or environment chemist, if they work together, this pentasynchrone will give us a different types of application. So my conclusion based on this kind of work is that if we work on the TiO2 or inorganic semiconductors with the pentasynchrone, it will certainly give us a very good photocatalyst for the future. So thank you very much for kindly listening my talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. An excellent talk, and obviously many different applications there with the same material. It's brilliant. Are any questions? Have anybody any questions for Professor Pandit? If you have a question, please just speak. This pentasynchrone, it seems obviously the materials that you were using, pentasynchrone and titania, seem all actually relatively cheap.
Yes.
It must offer quite good advantage, this factor also, no?
Yeah, it is a comparatively very cheap, because the starting compounds which we are used here are just like the aldehyde and ketone which we can use for the graduation level experiment, practical experiment, and the method is also like mortar and pestle, so it will not that much difficult to get such, and it's comparatively very cheap.
Excellent. Are there any other questions? I mean, what is the actual role of the two-dimensional structures? Is it critical to have a two-dimensional structure, for example, the titanium nanotubes?
Yeah, this pentasynchinone, it is having a sheet-like structure like this, and the nanoparticles, they are having a very, very small size, right? Here in this presentation, what the FECM images, it is very clear that on this type of sheets, these nanoparticles, they are stuck like very small particles are there, and its color of that sheet is yellow color. So the light absorption power, this goes on increasing, so the band gap is increased. So more the light it absorb, more it will give the photocatalytic type of reaction. So the two-dimensional, it will give the surface area, it enhances the surface area of nanoparticles, and it will increase the photocatalytic tendency.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is stability of this is organic compound?
Yeah, for we have first submitted this in American Chemical Society journal, so they have asked some similar type of question. So we have reused this catalyst like a 7-cycle recycling study we have performed, and it is a very stable because it has a melting point around 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, its melting point is 400 degrees Celsius, as well as it is not reacting with, or it is not soluble in any type of aqueous solvent. It is only soluble in the chloroform. So it is highly stable. We have checked with the help of various characterization. Before the process, after the photocatalytic process, it gives this similar type of NMR, it will give this similar type of XRD, it is giving a similar type of UV visible spectrophotometer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's very good.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, just thank you very much for the talk again. As Igor said, it was excellent. And obviously you've started your own line of some applications of environmental applications, which is very important.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.